Welcome to Talking Giants presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick. We got our 53-man rosters that we're doing today. We do this every offseason. We are going through position by position, and we're making cuts. We're doing what we want, not necessarily predictions. Justin, how are you?
Yes, not predictions, preference. Now, I think it says predictions in the title, but the reason why it says that in the title because that's like what normal titles are. But in all actuality, these are our preferences. Now, Bobby Skinner, I'm doing fine. I'm a little tired. We're recording late at night because my job was funky, and we got to watch our Nets. I know you have Nets thoughts on your brain, so I just want to kick it to you and let you roll to start off the show. Whatever you want to say, if you want to save it for later, I'm just going to let you roll right now.
I just want to say that we're gonna win the championship. That's essentially. I'm going into this Buck series. I was, it was our first real test, and I was like, let's see how this looks. And now it's like, oh yeah, we're good. There's no need to be nervous. Which, by the way, I made it official. I'm coming to New York for the NBA Finals.
I'm excited for this. Now,
can I stay at your house?
Well, first of all, I have an apartment.
Can I stay at your apartment?
Second of all, we would need a blow-up mattress. I do not think you are fitting on our couches.
My man, where there's a will, there's a way. And if that will is to spend less, $200 less a night, I'll sleep on a couch.
You can. I think we have a blow-up mattress. I can text. I could text my boss right now and ask her. So yeah, I mean, I think you would be more than welcome to stay with us.
We'll see. The hotels are nice, but they're really expensive right now. But I think if I could get a hotel for like $100 a night, I'll do it.
I mean, how long are you planning on staying?
Possibly 3 nights, depending on how.
Okay.
Then I'm going to the Nets finals games.
So you are going to the game though, because that was something that was up in the air.
If I can get a ticket, so they're going to play 2 games in a row, whether it's game 1 and 2 or game 3 and 4. If I can get a ticket for less than $300, I'll probably go. I was looking at them yesterday, and they're at $900.
Yeah,
which maybe that's just because they're not actually in the finals quite yet. So if I can get it for $300, I'll go. If not, we'll just all go outside and watch it outside the arena, which is a fun atmosphere. I remember doing, I'm not an Orlando Magic fan, but when they're in the finals, we would go out. We would go hang out outside the arena for those games, and they're pretty electric atmosphere.
Breaking news, Justin's apartment does have an air mattress.
Very nice. I might just get a hotel.
Nate, so you got me all excited, thinking that we were going to spend time together. We were going to do
maybe some other. Well, it depends. Are you going to drive me around?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're staying with me, yeah, we would go out to eat. We would do co-host bonding. But now that I'm saying this is making you want to get a hotel even more.
Well, we'll see.
Yes.
I kind of want to stay in New York, not New Jersey. Be next to the office.
Yeah, you media snob. You want to stay in New York?
New York. Well, you gotta feel the Brooklyn love.
Hair's looking extra good today. Can I just get that out of the way? Then we'll get down to business.
Thank you. I'm just very excited for the Nets right now.
You know what I'm excited for?
The Giants.
We got a surprise this week.
What was that?
Nick Gates was wearing one of our shirts.
Oh yeah, before we get to the 53. So they had OTAs. Really, really no news came out of OTAs besides, Galladay was there, so you get the clips of Jones and Galladay, which was cool. But no talking points. The OTAs from a couple weeks ago, we had some real talking points coming out of it. Carter Coughlin, there was some new stuff. The O-line alignment. Nothing much in this. We'll get some stuff out of minicamp. But what we did get is Nick Gates wearing our T-shirt, our Hogmollies shirts, and his press conference. I was so hyped for that. So I go to watch the interview, and he had a good quote. I don't have a life. Football's
my life. Yeah.
So I was refreshing, looking, so I could clip that, and I see it, and it's got his shirt down. I was like, is that the Hogmollies shirt? And then after the first question, it's not the logo is not on the shirt. He stands up and he readjusts himself above where you can see it. And I was like, that's the freaking Hogmollies shirt. So that was pretty exciting. And I hit him up and I was like, dude, I was like, you're the man. I was like, now we just got to get Judge or Graham to wear the shake and bake shirts.
Yeah. That was not planned, by the way. That was not planned on our part. I mean, I know we Nick Gates might have bought / we might have sent some Hogmollies shirts to him. But that was not planned of like, hey, you're going to wear it on this day. So that was kind of surprising and it was kind of nice. And an unintentional mistake, not a mistake, unintentional act by me by wearing the Hogmollies shirt when I got out of the shower when I got home from work today. So
that's a cool, it was a cool moment for us,
yeah.
And I think all the listeners who are like the third co-host of the show, it was a cool moment. It's, we're still, as we grow, it's like those little things are pretty cool. Like, look,
it's crazy that, the Talking Giants versus the world tweet, blah, blah, blah. I think that's a bigger deal. But in terms of our diehard listeners, I think the fact that they saw him wear the shirt, and a lot of the shirts that people have, by the way, go in our description. If you're watching on the YouTube, I'll even throw it in the description of the podcast app. I don't do that. So go in the description wherever you want to look at the shop. But seeing like for our diehards, seeing Nick Gates in that shirt, I think meant more in terms of like, oh, Nick Gates is Talking Giants versus the world, more than him actually tweeting that out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we got who's the next player to wear something for us?
We've been talking about how we want to get buddy with Will Hernandez because he's just like I think he's the guy that would catch our vibe.
Friday.
I really want Leonard Williams. I want to make a Leonard Williams shirt without getting copyright. That's a challenge. That's a challenge for me.
We should make a lot more shirts.
You should.
You know what? We should have cartoons of our own faces. Everybody else in the company has them. We need them too.
Make me look a little skinnier. You know what I'm saying?
And we'll do like me with a buzz cut or something. All right. Do you want to just get right into the 53-man thing?
Yeah, we've messed around for about like 8 minutes, 7 minutes. So yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we're gonna go through. We're gonna do our what we want, not necessarily our predictions, but like if we were the coaches, what we would do. Then we'll do our last 4 in, last 4 out, and then we'll talk about what actually are the predictions. Like we're gonna see, what happens, and talk about guys that might be the unexpected cuts. So let's go through it position by position. Quarterback. Do you have more than 2?
No, but this is my early prediction to our preference, to both of our preferences. I think we're very much. This is my prediction to our preferences. I think we're very much going to be like the same, and I think I'm going to hate that.
So we both got Jones and Glennon, right? QB.
Yes. Do you want to give like big picture thoughts about like how like the exercise of going through this before we actually give our actual preferences?
What do you mean?
Like here's my big picture thoughts, like completing this exercise before we actually give the results of the exercise. I thought it was going to be a lot harder. Where compared to years past, where I'm doing maybe a lot of research about like who's the bottom of the barrel guy who can be the 6th defensive lineman or the 6th cornerback or the 5th wide receiver, right? Like last year, we actually had to do some thinking in terms of who would our preference be for wide receiver 5. I don't really think there's that research that's happening, maybe besides offensive linemen, defensive linemen, and not even edge rusher. I think those are the 2 spots that we're only doing like research in terms of maybe who do we want our preference to be. So this roster, basically, my overall big picture, this roster is very much set up where the names that are kind of popular, like we already know those names, and that goes from QB1 to honestly like offensive lineman 8. Like we know these names, we're familiar with these names. Et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of like my big picture thoughts. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's a lot more predictable this year.
Yes.
I mean, when you gain depth, where it's like, it's not only is this guy our 5th wide receiver or our 5th? Like this guy's going to compete. Like he's going to be getting, like he's going to be competing to get reps in the game, not competing just to make the roster. So QB, we both have Jones and Glennon.
Yeah.
Are you opposed to the 3 QB rosters? Like Pat Shurmur was a 3 QB guy. Last year they had with the new practice squad elevation. And by the way, it's still 53-man rosters. I know there's this myth that it's 55. It's not. You'll have 55 guys on any given week, but there's 53 people who are part of the active roster throughout the season. The other 2 are practice squad players that you can protect, or or call up for that week. So are you against a third QB? I'm pretty strongly like, I don't want third QB on the 53. Like, make that guy a practice squad player. Clayton Thorson, let him be on the practice squad.
Yeah, in the past, it used to be like, Alex Tanney's going to be around. I'm mentally preparing myself for there to be 3 QBs. This year, because of you look at the rest of the roster pretty much up and down, and there are going to be some tough decisions that are going to be made, that would really stink if a player that we kind of maybe sort of believe in is cut because there's a third quarterback. So usually I'm like kind of indifferent, but I prefer not to. This year, I'm adamantly give me 2 QBs and only 2 QBs. I'm pretty adamant about it.
And I think they will. All right, running back. We both have Saquon Barkley and Devontae Booker as running back 1 and 2. Those are the obvious ones.
Yeah.
Who is your running back 3?
Corey Clement.
I was hoping we might disagree on this one. We agree. The other ones that are, you got Tyquell Armstead, Gary Brightwell.
Ryquell Armstead.
Ryquell. I knew I screwed that up.
I was close with him, by the way. I was close with him. He had some, highlight-worthy plays in Jacksonville. He's kind of a receiver. The main difference was the special team snaps for me. So,
and Clement, he's done it. He's proven it. He's kind of replaces Dion Lewis, which, by the way, I don't think Dion Lewis signed with anybody.
No,
I do think Dion Lewis is a free agent.
Golden Tate, same thing.
I'm surprised they didn't bring back Dion Lewis, to be honest. Because they used him as a receiving back, and I probably would. If you ask me as just like a receiver, what have you done for me lately? I'd probably take Lewis over him. And They did use, as much as people would bother people, they did use Lewis as a kick returner. But I'm going Cory Clement. I do hate to cut a draft pick. I do. Like, I'm not a fan of cut. I like to keep the draft picks on the roster. But I kept the other 5. The other 5, spoiler alert, are on the roster. So last year they cut Chris Williamson, and everyone else made the 53.
Yep.
Even TJ Brunson made the 53.
Yep.
So last year they cut 1 out of 10. This year I'm cutting 1 out of 6.
Yep.
Fullback, Elijah Penny or Colin Gillespie?
Elijah Penny for the running back, fullback versatility. And also Elijah Penny was just overall, he was pretty good last year.
Yeah, Penny, I wasn't a Penny fan. I was a very much like go get a true blue fullback, and which I still would be a fan of. But Penny played well as that fullback. And, like you said, he has that running back versatility. And if you need him in a pinch, he was better than Jonathan Hillman when, they both were playing running back versus the Patriots in 2019. So I'm sticking with Elijah Penny. I love Colin Gillespie. He seems like a cool dude. It would be fun if he made it. But Elijah Penny does everything. He plays special teams. Elijah Penny is my fullback. So no disagreement so far. At a position running back where there could have been some disagreements.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. How many wide receivers do you have?
5. I wanted to go 6, but I do have 5.
Okay. Now here's where we're going to have a little bit of difference. Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slay, Kadarius Toney are 4 that are guaranteed.
Yes.
Who did you keep off? Dante Pettis or John Ross?
I kept off Dante Pettis. Now, do we want to get, and I have kind of a good explanation.
I think I'd rather keep Dante Pettis over. I got both of them, by the way. I have Dante Pettis and John Ross.
So I would 6 wide receivers.
I have 6 wide receivers. I would keep Pettis over Ross.
Now, even though this is our preference, and like Bobby and I, we kind of loosely care about special teams, I tried to make this somewhat realistic where I did try to look at special team snaps for like my 5th string, like my bottom of the barrel list.
You had to have a coach's mind when you're doing this, not just like a fantasy football mind.
So I try to, when considering whether I was going to have 5 wide receivers or 6 wide receivers, we'll get to the Dante Pettis versus John Ross thing to begin with. But I looked at the special team snaps breakdown of our wide receivers last year, Austin Max, CJ Board included. They didn't really take a lot of special team snaps, which kind of surprised me. I thought that keeping those guys around for a decent chunk of the year, CJ Board, saw a decent amount of games. I thought that they would receive special team snaps. They did not. So that's why I decided to keep 5. If we were going to have like a wide receiver and carry 6, and then one guy could be a special teams guy, then maybe we have one less offensive lineman, maybe we have one less interior defensive lineman. I would have gone that route. But the Giants last year, their precedent showed that they didn't. So let's just carry 5. And I simply prefer John Ross over Dante Pettis because I think there's more upside there. I think that there is more boom potential of John Ross possibly being good and being there, especially if one of our other wide receivers goes down and then John Ross's snap share goes up, then Dante Pettis being good. But Dante Pettis, I think, is more of a safe option.
Yeah, Ross is very boomer bust, where it's like there's nobody in the league who has his type of speed, but I don't think there's anybody in the league who has the drop issues that John Ross has either.
Yeah.
Like he makes Evan Ingram look like a saint with, he makes him look like Kyle Rudolph. And there's just it's, I have a lot of hope for John Ross and I'm excited for him, but there is a reason why it didn't work out in Cincinnati where, if there's any franchise where, you can go under the radar a little bit and you're not killed by pressure, it would be Cincinnati. But I'm keeping both of them, so I'm not cutting one of them like you. So I'm going 6 wide receivers.
And to be fair,
Dante Pettis looked pretty good at the end of last season.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he had a really, really nice catch against Week 17 in Dallas. To be fair, spoiler alert, Dante Pettis was one of my last 4 out. So he was close.
Okay. All right, tight end. Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph.
Yep.
You keeping 3 or 4 tight ends?
I'm keeping 4.
Is Caden Smith on there?
Well, the other 2 obvious ones are on there for me. I did not have Kelvin Benjamin as a tight end.
You know what? I went with Kelvin Benjamin, though.
No way.
I'm serious, though. Like, think about it. What use is keeping do we really value doing 3 tight end sets with Levine Toilolo, Caden Smith, and Kyle Rudolph? Like, do we really value that? Like, does Levine, think about it right now. You're playing, we're playing Dallas. Like, who do you think can make a more positive impact in that game? Kelvin Benjamin or Levine Toilolo?
You're right. And we've talked about it before. But as of right now, Kelvin Benjamin is listed as a wide receiver. And frankly, Bobby, you would list him on the depth chart as a tight end, but he would never be taking snaps with his hand in the ground.
I agree, but that's why he's the 4th tight end. If I was keeping only 3 tight ends, if we never signed Kyle Rudolph, it would be Levine Toilolo over Kelvin Benjamin. It's like Levine Toilolo, he's a good 3rd tight end to have. But I mean, most teams don't carry a 4th tight end. I mean, the Giants didn't for the majority of last year, and before they cut Eric Tomlinson, after they cut Eric Tomlinson. So if I'm going to keep a 4th tight end, I'm going to be a guy. I'm going to take a chance on a guy like Kelvin Benjamin and see if he can still just be that contested catch guy. Where Levine Toilolo adds nothing to the receiving game. He's a good blocker, but again, you have Caden Smith and Kyle Rudolph on this team.
Yeah.
If we never signed Kyle Rudolph, it would be Levine Toilolo. I mean, I was, when people were losing their mind when they restructured him, I was like, no, this is smart. They use him a lot. He's a good 3rd tight end. But when they added Kyle Rudolph, I don't have a ton of use for Toilolo.
Yeah.
Although I will my prediction would be Toilolo over Kelvin Benjamin, but what I would want would be Benjamin over.
Yeah, I just think Kelvin Benjamin's role would just I see what you mean, and I think that's so fun, kind of sign me up for it. But it's also just super niche. That's such a super niche.
But isn't 4th tight end niche in itself already?
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm seeing you. But I'm also, again, I'm trying to this is a preference, but also I'm trying to use kind of like a smart brain at the same time, being like, I don't think the Giants would keep Kelvin Benjamin around just for that. And also I wouldn't either. I would not do that either, just for that one specific kind of play. Because also it's a telltale sign whenever he's out there in the red zone. It's like, oh, this guy is out here for one reason only. Let's just go up and catch a football.
Are we both on the Kyle Rudolph tight end 1 train?
I don't know. I think let's save.
I really think they're going to split snaps like him and Irv Smith did this past
year.
Yeah,
I would be for that. Here's the thing. I'm not for tight end 1, tight end 2. I'm not down to put the designation on it because I really do want them to split the snaps. I have been asking, Bobby, I've been asking this since the 2020 regular season when I wrote that blog after that Eagles game of, dramatically decreasing the snaps of Evan Ingram, because Evan Ingram can be very, very good in spurts. He's not good when you rely on him when he's getting over 100 targets, 90 targets. That's not, I don't think that's how he can be a productive player in the NFL. So I think having Kyle Rudolph there and them splitting the snaps, I want to save that for like a PPP in terms of our projections of snap share and how often these guys play and stuff like that. But yes, I would sharing tight end one is what I would like kind of say.
Offensive tackle, Thomas Parrott Solder. Do you have a fourth?
Thomas Parrott Solder. No.
Guard, Will Hernandez, Shane Lemieux. Now you've got Zach Fulton behind him. You got Kyle Murphy, and you got Chad Slade. I went Fulton, and I'm keeping Murphy as well.
Same here.
So I'm going to end up with 9 offensive linemen.
Same here.
Okay, so we're both doing this. I really think Kyle Murphy is my most anticipated player to watch in preseason. Like, I'm so happy we have a preseason because I get to watch Kyle Murphy. I really think that guy can be something, but it's just we haven't seen any NFL action yet. They added him to the 53-man roster, late in the year. I don't think they just did that for no reason. Now, it does hurt my heart to let Chad Slade go because he's one of the guys. They love him. He's a glue guy on that offensive line. And Kenny Wiggins is on this team too, and he's got some good pro experience. You know, he started a handful of games in the NFL. But I'm not going to keep more than 4 guards. So I'm keeping those 4. Who would you keep, Chad Slade or Kenny Wiggins, if you were to keep them?
I mean, I would keep Slade just because it's more fun. I mean, I've never watched any of them.
Chad Slade, remember they played Chad Slade in a game this year. Remember when they were rotating against Washington? Remember they put Chad Slade in. They had Chad Slade and Matt Parrott left tackle versus Washington, and then they got down to the goal line and they put Andrew Thomas and Shane Lemieux in mid-series. They're like, all right, we're punching this in. We need these two in there.
So I found this stat that you tweeted out 3 days ago. I don't know if you said it exactly on the podcast, but you referenced it. But here's the exact stat. This is from Bobby Skinner. Giants projected starting offensive line has combined 83 career starts in the NFL. Their backups have a combined 297 career starts. That's bizarre.
I've said this take over and over this offseason, so I'm sure people are tired of hearing it. But it's a weird that is a weird dynamic of having all of that experience on the bench and all of this youth in the starting lineup. I mean, it's really young. Thomas has essentially 16 starts, but Parrott got the one versus Washington. So those, 15-1 right there. Shane Lemieux has 9. Yeah, Shane Lemieux has 9 starts. Nick Gates has 18 or 19, and then Will Hernandez has the bulk of them. Yeah, with the 2.5 seasons.
Kyle Murphy was one of my last 4 guys in.
All right, well, let's save last 4 in for last 4 in.
Okay. We have one more offensive lineman that we have not shared who that is. Who is that for you?
We have center. We have Nick Gates. Do you have a backup center?
I do have a backup center.
Jonathan Harrison?
Yes, and it was tight between somebody else. But again, just going off of experience and just what we've seen pro reps and we've seen what Jonathan Harrison is.
Yeah, Jonathan Harrison, I'm pretty confident will make the team as the backup center. He started a lot of games as center in the NFL. So that's our offense. So on offense, we have 1, 2. I have 1, 2, 6, 12, 16, 19, 23, 25. I have 25 players. You have 24 players because you had the one less wide receiver. And I'm trying to get a ton of money because DraftKings Sportsbook is not only my favorite sportsbook, but also America's top-rated sportsbook. We're the top-rated Giants podcast. They're the top-rated sportsbook. I love using DraftKings Sportsbook. It's easy to navigate, has plenty of instructions for new bettors, and nearly limitless ways to get in on all the action. My friends and family have been loving DraftKings Sportsbook, and I know you will too. Listen to this great offer. DraftKings Sportsbook is putting you courtside with a chance to turn $1 into $100 in site credits. That's right. Pick any basketball team that's still in contention. So the Bucks aren't. Like, you can't bet on the Bucks because they're done. Bet $1, and if that team wins, you win $100 in site credits. I mean, bet on the Nets. Come on, guys. Don't forget, DraftKings Sportsbook also offers great odds and promotions on baseball, hockey, and so much more all week long. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. By the way, did you see USA beat Mexico?
I heard the Spanish call on that, and it was phenomenal.
I have a lot of Mexican friends, and I remember the last time they played in the Copa de America. And I remember just talking trash the whole time. So, but with COVID, I haven't been around them as much, so I need to call him tomorrow and trash talk. So, Esteban Juan, I'm coming for you to try. I'm gonna make you feel bad because they love soccer. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code JOHNBOY when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free credits. Bet on the basketball team of your choice to win their next game, and if they do, you will claim $100 in free credits. That's promo code JOHNBOY for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Wager paid out on site credits. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana 1-800-9 with it. Let's get to the defense.
Yeah. Defense.
Let's start with the secondary.
Oh, we're going to reverse it.
I have it listed, but it's like, edge and D-line is where it gets. You know what? Let's start with D-line. That's the way I have it in order.
More captivating conversation.
Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Danny Shelton.
Yes.
BJ Hill.
Yes.
Who is your fifth?
Well, I have 6.
Austin Johnson is one of them.
Yes.
Are you like me? Keeping that RJ Macintosh hype train going?
No, I am ending the RJ Macintosh hype train, and I'm going to the Raymond Johnson hype train.
Oh, but he can make the practice squad.
I know, but it's tough to let RJ Macintosh go. He's not one of my last 4 out or last 4 in, blah blah blah. But I'm loving Raymond Johnson, man. He's the new toy for me. Undrafted free agent, so give him to me. He's making my roster.
All right, let me give you some evidence here, kid.
Give me some evidence. Yeah, you're going to tell me RJ Macintosh has played 17 snaps, but he somehow has 22 sacks within those 17 snaps. That's what you're going to tell me right now. I know you.
I am just going to tell you. If I could find the freaking tweet.
Yeah, you're going to Twitter advanced search and you're going to look up your own RJ
In
Macintosh.
2019, RJ Macintosh had 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 QB hits on only 114 snaps. For reference, Dalvin Tomlinson had 596 snaps. Always seen some hidden talent in Macintosh going back to him playing Quentin Nelson at Miami versus Notre Dame. Good production for the 5th defensive tackle.
There it is.
I can't give up on him.
There it is.
I can't give up on RJ Macintosh. I've tried to. I literally didn't put him on the list, and then I went back. I was like, I have to get RJ Macintosh on this roster. Who am I cutting? And then I cut somebody from the edge group to keep RJ Macintosh. There's got to be a reason they kept him on the active roster last year, and he was active. So he was on the game day active roster. He 0 days.
Yeah.
Like he never dressed out in pads for a game, but he was on the 53 million roster all year.
Yeah, healthy scratch. Yeah.
He was a healthy scratch all year on the roster. Like I get that maybe that position was healthy, so but I like RJ Macintosh. I do. And I think he's on I don't think there's a worse team in the NFL for RJ Macintosh to be on.
No, it stinks.
Because we have all these defensive tackles. And you know what? I almost cut Austin Johnson. And maybe you know what? Coaching change. This is why this stuff happens last minute. I'm cutting.
Wrong sound.
I am cutting Austin Johnson.
Wow.
And I am adding a player back into the edge group.
At
this time last year, I was very much clear cut RJ Macintosh over Austin Johnson. Okay. Now did Austin Johnson do anything for me to be like, nope. No, he was average, I guess, but he never really made an impact. You know, like he recovered a fumble. Like I think he caused a fumble versus the Rams, but like Austin Johnson never really made a huge impact. He did all right. It's like, oh, well, he's going to play nose tackle. I think Danny Shelton's going to be awesome at nose tackle, and he's not going to we don't have to run a nose tackle 80% of the game. You can play Danny Shelton 55% of the snaps, and those be your nose tackle reps for a game.
Yeah, the only thing is that then he's your only nose tackle, and then you're at a point where.
But Dex, damn it! All right, I'm thinking Austin Johnson. The thing. You're right. I have to think about this as a coach and not fantasy football. Austin Johnson
I could see where your preference lies, but in order to fit our theory, Bobby, and this is my opinion, in order to fit our theory of, hey, we can have our linebackers play back a little bit, so they can kind of go back for the pass, and we can have our defensive linemen take care of everything up front. Having more than one nose tackle option, people presume that Dexter Lawrence can do it, and it's like, why not? But he hasn't done it, and I'm not a film buff, so I don't know if he can. But having more than one nose tackle option, I think, makes the most sense if we want to continue having this approach of playing Blake Martinez, playing Tay Crowder back. Then they can come up and make plays. But even if Austin Johnson's a little overpaid, I'm okay with it.
I'm going to make a special team decision.
Okay.
And I hate doing this. I hate myself right now. But if I'm just thinking about this as a coach, I don't need a sixth guy in this defensive line group. RJ Macintosh is getting cut.
Wow. I'm sorry.
I have to keep the nose tackle, and I value BJ Hill more than I do RJ Macintosh. Yeah. If I'm the coach for 31 other teams, I have RJ Macintosh on my roster. This is the one team it doesn't happen though. But I have to keep a certain player, which we'll talk about in the next group, on for special teams. I really hate myself for this. I do.
You're all right?
I am all right, but it sucks, dude. It sucks. So let me change my first four out. First four in. Okay. The edge group.
Yep.
The person that I am keeping and cutting RJ Macintosh for is Cam Brown.
Okay.
He plays too many special team snaps. He is a good he is a special teams guy. He's a 6th-round draft pick. They like him. They want to develop him. He played even a little bit. I mean, he played more defensive reps than RJ Macintosh did in 2020. So I'm keeping Cam Brown and cutting RJ Macintosh. The other group is at the edge. Like last year, I'm keeping 6 edge players. Lorenzo Carter, Aziz Ojulari, O'Shane Zimenez, Ellerson Smith, Ifedio Onegbo, and Cam Brown.
You just said you're cutting Cam Brown.
No, I'm keeping Cam Brown. I'm cutting RJ Macintosh to keep Cam Brown.
Oh, all right. Then we have the exact same 6 edge spots. However, there's an interesting conversation that comes with the edge group, which I will get to in a little bit.
Yeah,
at the end.
At the end. I know where that's going. All right, inside linebacker, Blake Martinez, Tay Crowder, Reggie Ragland. But we both have those 2.
We both have those 3. Yes.
Or those 3. Carter Coughlin is he's both our 4th, right?
Yes, he is.
He's a good talent. It's a good way to keep him at a spot where there's no person of strength there. Devontae Downs obviously got run at that spot last year. I know we did a little Cale Garrett segment, but I would rather keep Cale Garrett over Coughlin. TJ Brunson is there too, but I'm just not a TJ Brunson fan at all. And I think the Giants showed that they weren't really a fan of his at all either, because they didn't play him at a spot where Devontae Downs did get a ton of reps. There was Tay Crowder got hurt. There was all the reason for TJ Brunson to get reps, and he never did. Yeah. I think he played 2 reps all year on defense, and one was they're 3rd down pass rushing reps.
Something that I did think about was cutting Cam Brown, Carter Coughlin at edge, and Cale Garrett at interior linebacker 4. That is something I did think about.
Yeah, I think it's a position they can keep 5 players. I don't think that's crazy. I think a lot of teams do. But I'm sticking with 4 at that spot. Blake Martinez, he's not coming off the field. You got 2 guys in Tay Crowder and Reggie Ragland, and then that 4th guy is just now I say it every year. It's a talking point that I say every year. If you start the season as the fourth inside linebacker, you're going to get important reps. It happens every single year.
I mean, what if they carry 5 interior linebackers, one of them being quote unquote Carter Coughlin? It doesn't harm you to cut what you would replace Raymond Johnson with the 5th interior linebacker, and odds are that 5th interior linebacker would be more valuable than my 6th interior defensive lineman.
Yeah. Raymond Johnson making the roster with simply being like, we don't want to take a chance on losing this guy.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, did you see the undrafted free agent money was in the order that we like those players? Raymond Johnson 1, Brett Heggie 2, and Jake Burton 3.
There you go.
So the order of how we thought those players were good was the order they paid them, which is cool. All right, cornerback. We're closing down on the roster. James Bradbury, Adoree Jackson, Darnay Holmes, Aaron Robinson. How many more corners do you have after those 4?
Just 2.
Isaac Edom and Rodarius Williams.
Yes. However, Rodarius Williams can easily be replaced with like anybody functional.
I like Rodarius though. Like,
Yeah.
I think I really like that pick. I think he was good value. I think he slipped a little bit because he is, a little older. But I like Rodarius. I was going to make sure I found a way to keep him on the roster. He can play, those backup corners can play special teams. Isaac Edom, well, certainly wasn't good. I think for the weakest link on a defense that was a 9th ranked defense, I think he held his own, and he did have some good moments. I like Isaac Edom was not Sam Beal.
No,
2019, he was not Grant Haley. 2019, he was not Corey Ballantyne. 2019, like he was a step above those guys. So, and that's after getting benched and then getting put back in there after Ryan Lewis got burnt a couple times. So keeping 6 corners. Safety: Jabril Peppers, Logan Ryan, Xavier McKinney, and Julian Love.
Yes, 4.
Special teams: Graham Gano, Riley Dixon, Casey Kreider. Are you going Carson Tinker at long snapper?
No, I'm a Casey Kreider stan.
Yeah, we're big Casey Kreider fans around here. All right, so that's a 53-man roster right there. So my last 4 in were Kelvin Benjamin, Cam Brown. He barely made it in. And then I had Kyle Murphy and Zach Fulton as the last 4 in. But that was because I thought about maybe losing one of the guards, and I was like, which one of those would I keep? But since I kept both, I put them both in there. So, but one of those 2 was definitely going to make it, but I put those in the last 4 in because those were when I was trying to fit a RJ in. Like I debated getting rid of one of the guards.
Are you ready for my last 4 in?
Yeah.
Raymond Johnson, Rodarius Williams, Kyle Murphy, just because I haven't seen him, and O'Shane Ximines.
O'Shane Ximines. We're gonna have an interesting conversation about him in a second. Last 4 out: Levine Toilolo, RJ Macintosh, clearly, Cale Garrett, and David Sills. Man, I hate that David Sills didn't get his shot last year.
Yeah,
he got hurt. David Sills, I think, would have made the roster last year, and he got hurt. I almost put Alex Bachman in, but I like David Sills, man, and I don't think there's a place for him unless there's injuries. But I hate that. I hate that he's out. But I put him in my last 4 out. And my controversial, who was in the last 4 out, was Ryan Anderson.
Yeah, free agent signing. I feel like the last 4 out it was a lot harder for me to kind of think, like, because now the last 4 out exercise, that is a lot harder to come up with those names than it actually was to put together the roster. Because now when we're talking about the guys that are basically left over, like there were really no big names that we cut, Bobby. Like I was thinking about O'Shane Ximines, and that would have been a big name for me. But really there is no big name that we left out. So here's my last 4 out. Brett Heggie. It was kind of back and forth between him and Kyle Murphy. Dante Pettis, that's understandable. Ryan Anderson, I think that's understandable too. Free agent signing, actually does have a decent amount of pro experience. And Mondre Harper, isn't Mondre Harper the guy that likes to get in fights? I feel like he's a good glue guy.
Yeah, and he's been working with the DBs in Tampa and stuff.
So he's my last 4 out. Bobby, a lot of people are surprised that, I'm sure they're listening and they're screaming at their cars. They're screaming at their computer screens. If you're listening on the YouTubes or your phones, they're screaming and they're saying, "Where's Nate Ebner? Where's Devontae Downs? You fools!
Nobody's screaming
you idiots.
for Devontae Downs.
You
I don't think
idiots.
I actually don't think Devontae Downs is going to make the roster, even though he very well could. So that's the thing. Now, Nate Ebner is not even on the roster right now, technically. But Nate Ebner is going to make the team. Like, he's going to make the team as a special teams player. Who do you think that bumps out? Because I don't think it bumps out someone from the safety spot in Julian Love. Could it be Rodarius? I mean, I could see it being Rodarius. But I think I don't see any cut this year that would get the reaction that Ryan Connolly got out of me. You know, every year there's cuts that make people mad, but the Ryan Connolly, there's very few times where I am like just pissed off at what the Giants have done. It's very few. It's few and far between when I am I am so pissed off at the Giants. Them cutting Janoris Jenkins for no reason. Well, when I say no reason, when they didn't need to cut him, that had me in it. I was pretty pissed when they played Daniel Jones versus Arizona with a sprained ankle and a bad hamstring. And Ryan Connolly was one of them. I don't see there being that this year. Now, what it could be is O'Shane Ximines. And I don't want O'Shane Ximines cut, and I think he can be well. But if O'Shane Ximines comes into camp and doesn't prove himself, then it stinks, but you guys didn't draft, Joe Judge, you didn't draft him. I defer to you on that in a crowded edge room. It's a crowded edge room. I get it. Now, the Ryan Connolly, to me, I still look at it as inexcusable. As a team that freaking started Devontae Downs a ton of games. TJ Brunson made the roster. Guy played 2 reps. So please spare me what did Ryan Connolly did in Minnesota. Look what our trash-ass team, what our trash-ass inside linebackers did with Devontae Downs and TJ Brunson. I don't think there's gonna be any reaction like that from me this year on cut day.
So here is the warning that I am going to give to all of the wonderful Giants fans who listen to our show and who follow what we do. Somebody that we all like is going to be cut to save a roster spot for Nate Ebner and possibly Devontae Downs. It's going to happen.
You know who could stop saying Devontae Downs, okay?
I'm being legitimately serious about this. Somebody is going to be cut that we like to save a roster spot for special teams. Now, it could be Downs, it could be Ebner, it could be Ryan Anderson.
So a lot, O'Shane Ximines he's actually kind of a popular cut in Giants land right now. You know who it would be that would piss a lot of people off?
Who?
Carter Coughlin.
Yeah.
I could see it being Carter Coughlin. Like, it's a crowded edge room, and say the inside linebacker thing doesn't work out in camp. I could see that happening. I don't want it to happen, but that could be. I think that would be the one that would get the most negative reaction. Would Pettis or Ross get that reaction?
No.
Cory Coleman got a pretty negative reaction, and
No, that's because Cory Coleman was the problem. No, this is also a little bit of the problem with quote unquote preseason games. Cory Coleman was a stud during those scrimmage games, and he was a stud during the scrimmage games, and he was a stud during practice from what the beat reporters were telling us. So I think that a lot of people got excited based off of that.
Also, he was going to have a very real role on the team in 2019, and then he tore his ACL or whatever it was. Like, he was set to have a very real role on that team. They had Cody Core playing wide receiver reps, TJ Jones, like Cory Coleman would have been a key contributor. It was a battle between him and Cody Latimer, and then Golden Tate got suspended. Like, Cory Coleman would have played a good amount of reps in 2019 if he didn't get injured.
Yeah, and John Ross would have more of a negative reaction than Dante Pettis. But I do actually think you're right. I think people would be more outraged over Carter Coughlin than O'Shane Ximines, which is kind of a crazy thing to think about.
Which I have more hope for O'Shane Ximines than I do Coughlin, because I think O'Shane Ximines can be like a really good edge player, where Coughlin, I don't think he'll ever be really good. I think he'll be a player who makes plays, but he's never like consistently good. I just think because he has physical limitations with his size, which that's why I love the inside linebacker move. Like, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I'm thrilled at that. I'm excited to see how he fits in at that role. because that's how he could, turn himself into a Kyle Van Noy or whatever. So he's a guy with a lot of talent. It's how does that talent end up working in the NFL? So I mean, it's, you know what, we kind of made it seem like it was going to be a little boring. There's a lot of interesting conversations around the cuts. Like they're like once you and so let me do quick instead of what I want. What predictions would be? Nate Ebner in.
Yep.
Who would be the out for that?
I mean, my simple out would be to put Nate Ebner in and then take out Raymond Johnson. And then you have 5 interior defensive linemen, 3 regular defensive linemen, 2 nose tackles.
So mine would be Ebner in, Kyle Murphy out, and Toilolo in, Benjamin out. That would be predictions over what I would want. And then the rest I'm pretty set on, that's what I think will actually happen. So I mean, but from what I want, there's only 2 differences I have is Nate Ebner and Levine Toilolo in, and then Kelvin Benjamin and Kyle Murphy out.
It will be very interesting to see if both Ryan Anderson and Cam Brown and Carter Coughlin make the roster. Where does Carter Coughlin would obviously have to be? He would be labeled on the Giants website as a linebacker, but he would obviously have to be an interior linebacker. And then the other guys are edge guys, but then what happens to the rest of the edge and linebacker rooms?
And we're kind of throwing away Ryan Anderson right now, but the Giants could be really high on him.
Yeah.
He's played a decent amount for Washington the past few years. He's an Alabama guy. He is if there's anything that Ryan Anderson is he's a versatile player.
No, and Ifedi's changing. Fedi Odenegbo, he's changing. He's kind of changing.
Ifedi's a guarantee.
He's a guarantee.
Ifedi is. I will guarantee. I hope so. Ifedi makes this roster.
I hope so.
I think they have high hopes for Ifedi. I could see we walk first play week 1. Ifedi Odenegbo's out there. In fact, I'm predicting that. Oh,
put it on the table. Say it with your chest.
So I'm predicting that Ifedi Odenegbo will be playing the Odenigbo. So someone told me I've been saying it right. Odenigbo. It's Odenigbo.
So what is it? Is the G silent?
Yeah, Odenigbo. We'll see. All right. Do you have anything else?
No. I hope my one time of prefacing saying prepare yourselves, and we have a whole June and July left, so I'm guaranteed.
And August, essentially.
And August, the caution will come again. But in terms of this initial preference for 53-man roster, this is fun, but also now, getting a little anxious that somebody that we probably really like from this football team is going to be cut to put somebody who we don't like on this football team, mainly a guy for special teams. And it's gonna push our buttons. But in a way, I guess it's a good problem to have because there's depth.
Nate Ebner, I'm mentally prepared for. Devontae Downs, I am not. Devontae Downs making the roster will annoy me. Nate Ebner making the roster is not going to annoy me. Devontae Downs is definitely going to annoy me. All right, that's an episode. We'll be back on Friday. We got 3 days of media access at minicamp, so it's going to be a fun few days on following along with the beat reporters being there at practice. So we'll be here on Friday to recap that. So enjoy it because this is really the last good amount of coverage you get until training camp. So we'll see you on Friday. Until then, let's go Big Blue.